So before the end of this hour, the 3 things that we want to make sure that you take away are, do you know where to access your curriculum resources? What those Canvas learning courses look like. Canvas is our learning management system that houses all your online courses. And then what support resources are available to you.
So before we dive into this full-on presentation, we want to take you through a prepare the brain or attention getter activity that helps get the brain primed for learning. This is something really good to do with your students as well. It's kind of like a warm-up, but just to get everything flowing, get the oxygen blood flow to the brain so we can get started. So when we do these activities, you like to cross the midline. So we're going to go through the sagittal plane by splitting the body in half. By using both sides of the brain, we're activating those neurons to make those connections to learning. So with that said, will you please stand up? This activity is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we'll do 2 rounds of this. So start with the first one for 5. So we're doing 5 cross jacks. So cross your arms and cross your feet together 5 times, okay? Then we're gonna do 4 alternate punches. So crossing the midline, alternating left and right punches, followed by 3 elbow to knee crosses, okay? 3 times. 2 opposite toe lift touches, followed by 1 windmill, okay? So we finish with 1 windmill. All right, we're gonna do that again, and we're gonna go all the way through 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready? So 5 cross jacks. Good. 4 punches. 3 opposite elbow to knee. 2 opposite toe lifts. And 1 windmill. Good job. All right, go ahead and take a seat. These are just simple things to get the brain primed and ready for learning.
So what you're going to see in the next couple slides, we're going to talk briefly of what the PE scope and sequence is for our district. You know, where the elementary schools, the K-5 buildings, we're building the foundation, you know, using a little bit of brain-body behavior, which we'll go over here in a little bit, but building a foundation of fitness and PE for life, giving kids an opportunity to learn games, etc., different skills. Our middle school, we're looking to push more toward lifetime sports and personal fitness, things that kids can do outside of school, at home, and you know, in their communities. And then it sets us up for the high school PE curriculums, which is more, you know, fitness centers and wellness for life. You know, so that kids have tons of options where they can find something that's not just sports related. So our curriculum resources. I'm sure after 2 days of intense stuff with the district that you know how to log into Canvas by now. So you would start by going on NC Ed Cloud, put in your username and password, click on the Canvas link. Then there's a little folder. It says Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. You'll click on that, follow that to CMS resources, and then there will be the icon for health and PE, and there's where you will find all the resources in our health and PE world in other Canvas courses that we've created. This also is amazing. So if you took the little bit.ly link at the beginning of this presentation, you're going to have a link to this page. All of these are hyperlinks to a plethora of resources that, you know, to be honest with you, when Andrew, Kim, and I look at stuff like this, we go, if we only had this when we were starting, because there is so many things in here that you should check out. Take your time today, go through them all, see what you can use, see what you already know. And if there's any doubt of what do I do, I'm sure there's something in one of these links right here that will help you. If we can't help you, something in these links will.
And just to piggyback on what Keith was saying, notice that all these links are at-home resources as well. Now they're great at-home resources, but then while you're at home teaching remotely, you might be bookmarking some of these, like this would be great to project in my gymnasium at some point. Now, if you did not take that bit.ly link in the very beginning to these presentation slides, don't worry. We'll make sure that on that very last slide, we actually have that bit.ly link to all these slides for you to access later on. Because honestly, if we just stop this session right now and said, here, go to this page, you will spend a couple hours just looking at some of these links. So don't worry. I just want you guys to be in the moment right now. I know that you've been thrown so much information. I will put up that bit.ly slide presentation link at the very end. So don't worry if you're like, oh, I missed it. We'll make sure it's back up there. So the previous slide had a lot of PE resources. And I know that some of you might be teaching secondary health, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, or high school health. And if you teach elementary and that's your role, someday you might be teaching health. So a lot of times teachers, K-12 health and PE teachers will say, that doesn't pertain to me. I'm teaching elementary. Or I'm a high school teacher. I don't need to go to those elementary sessions. Well, we're K-12 certified. There may be a time that you're serving elementary, but then a couple of years later, you're going into the high school. So it's really prudent to be able to see all the different curriculum resources that are available in CMS, kindergarten through 12th grade. There are numerous teachers in our district that has served elementary, middle, and high school and has served all those different roles. So in CMS, to give you some exposure of what health education looks like, we implement a choice-led health classroom. So let's look at this short little promo video on what is choice-led health. So basically, to sum it up, choice-led health is a skills-based health education curriculum. A skills-based health education curriculum. Students are doing more of the heavy lifting than teachers are. Teachers are facilitators. They're not getting in front of a classroom and putting on a slide deck and teaching by PowerPoint, PowerPoint, PowerPoint. A skills-based health curriculum basically means that kids are applying, creating, developing. They're doing student choice projects for credit. This slide is a gold mine. Even though we have a choice-led health full course, it's a full course that we have implemented in Canvas, that it is ready to go, complete turnkey, day 1 to day 45 or day 30 of how long of your instructional days. But here is a really quick 5 click here resources of the grade 6 through 9 curriculum resources, the student and teacher course books, the choice-led health mind maps, YouTube video links, and student reflection questions, and then the course books for a high school student course book and for the teacher course book as well. So these are amazing, amazing resources. I could spend a whole day teaching choice-led health, or 2 days. So I just want to give you those first 2 slides for you to first look into and go back to and click on some of these resources. But we will be doing some support Zoom sessions next week on choice-led health as well, to ensure that you guys have a general understanding of how to implement this choice-led health curriculum. But it is a full course in Canvas as well. I put this slide in there for teachers to help them with resources on that first week of school. When you guys go remote, the first week of school, your first few days should all be about building student relationships. That's it. Build student relationships. You've got to connect with them before you teach the content. So here are 5 great resources. I love the first one, create your own virtual locker. The second one are great activities for a remote learning classroom. There's 50 different activities within that article Flipgrid is a great way to ask students and pull them, getting to know you type of surveys. And I put a little tutorial video in there. A vision board, you can have students create their own slides about themselves. And then, of course, we have the interactive classroom on how to create your own Bitmoji interactive classroom to allow students to get to know you. These are just 5 resources that you could dig into, especially for that first week. Do not worry about your content until you build student relationships. Relationships before content, always. If you're gonna connect with them, you gotta build student relationships. So that's why this slide is completely dedicated for that first week of school, especially. Build student relationships. This slide is also in here, and I'm gonna share this out to even our veteran teachers next week. Here are some great health and PE ready-made tools. Click on the website, Canva, this tech tutorial, how to make your own animated GIFs. I had a lot of fun with that this summer, by the way. Love making my own GIFs. And Flippity, oh my goodness. If you, wow, let me just tell you, if you click on Flippity, you are gonna go down a wormhole that has so many great Google spreadsheets that you can create scavenger hunts, bingo games, quiz shows. What a great way to also use for getting to know your students as well. Even a random wheel spinner, it's so awesome. So these are kind of like my go-to ones that I absolutely love. So again, you're gonna wanna come back to these slides, click on a lot of these different resources and explore on your own. If I just stop this presentation right now, you have so many resources to just kind of peruse on your own. And then because of the, craze of the virtual gyms, classrooms, I kind of laid it out for you so that you can kind of see step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, and 5 on this slide. I won't go into great detail, but a lot of people have, even veteran teachers, saying, hey, Kim, how do you build your own virtual gym? I kind of laid it out step by step for you in this easy slide. Okay, a lot of stuff, a lot of curriculum resources. We didn't dive into the curriculum, but we kind of just exposed you to the resources. Your head might be exploding right now. That means we need to reset our brains, because you might be like, wow, I can't wait to get to this stuff. And I really want you to be in the moment right now and come back to these slides later. So if you're seated, please stand up and only participate at your own comfort level. I got this random wheel spinner off of flippity.net that I referenced earlier, but this is a spinner that you could put in student names if you wanted to, but I put in exercises. Oh, and by the way, bonus, you can actually make a copy of all these slides and you could embed this exact wheel spinner into your first day lesson or lessons when you go remote later on. Anything that we share with you, just make a copy, call it your own. It's free for you guys to use. So the idea is I'm going to spin the wheel. It does take me to their Flippity site where I've published this. And there are 6 different exercises. 6 high jumps, toe touches, knee taps, heel kicks, air punches, jumping jacks, etc. So let me spin the wheel. Let's see what we get. What a great way to do live instruction in front of your kids, especially elementary as well, if you are going to do this. 6 heel kicks. Okay, so I go behind the back for my heel kicks. I always like removing the exercise, so we make sure we get to all 6 of them. What's next? What's next? Jumping jacks. Okay, and 6 jumping jacks. Again, participate at your own comfort level. See, you can do exercise remotely. We got this. We could do live instruction. 6 high jumps. I'm actually going to just raise the roof with raising my hands above my head. Remove that. All right, we have 3 more. What we got? I love this spinner. This is one of my faves. 6 toe touches. Again, participate at your own comfort level. 2 more. 6 air punches. I like crossing my midline to integrate the right and left brain hemispheres to get them more active. And then just because I like spinning it, I'm going to spin it one more time, even though we know the outcome. 6 knee taps. I just love that spinner. Let me move this. Let's go back to the slides. So again, you can copy these slides. You can copy this slide and embed it into your own Google slide deck if you want for your first day back of school as well. Love that thing. Okay, moving on.
So another thing that we've kind of helped our classroom teachers with, as well as our PE teachers, is Andrew, Kim, and I have developed a program or a strategy for teaching called B3, Brain, Body, Behavior. It's developing fundamental motor skills to spark the brain, build the body, and improve student behavior to increase academic performance. We've been doing this for about 4 years now in our schools, doing trainings with classroom teachers in schools so that we can kind of put more PE in the classroom and get a whole lot more movement in our schools. And we've seen some awesome results so far. We're able to create with our graphics department some active hallway decals. About 15 or so schools have these right now, where the kids can go down the hallway, whether they're doing arrows or following feet or jumping on stones. Really great positive feedback from principals and teachers. In fact, we have one school where all the classroom teachers have requested them for their classrooms. And the principals spent the summer putting them in their classrooms, like little things. So awesome stuff here. B3 classrooms, teachers are integrating these B3 behaviors in their classrooms, adding their own stuff with just floor tape. Floor tape, if you don't have the active hallway decals, is your best friend, floor tape. In the PE world, floor tape, and we also tell teachers that if you don't get floor tape, because it does get kind of expensive, painter's tape is amazing as well. And we've built a couple of B3 labs that are specific to work in the sensory. So here's a good picture of a couple of labs. You're muted, Kim. Can't hear you.
Okay, sorry guys. So these B3 programs have been mostly been in elementary schools. As you can see that they're more in K-5 classrooms and K-5 buildings, but we are expanding into middle schools, hopefully when we do go back to a school building. But basically B3 is developing those motor skills, those running, skipping, jumping, hopping, balance, flexibility, to be able to prime them and get them ready for learning to take place.
And to help all of our K2 students this year, we actually, working with our technology department, had a button preloaded onto all of our iPads so students can have access to task cards that we created to go along with our program. We've created 160 plus task cards that students can use and teachers can use in the classroom. We put most of them on the iPads, the ones that we could use from a remote setting, but all of the students that are in K2 will have an opportunity to use our task cards, which we created 4 different components. We have a balance card, which you see here. We have a muscular strength, we have a cardio, and we have a sport training. What you will see on the B3 on the go task cards or on the go iPad button is a GIF that's attached to each card. This way it gives the students an opportunity to see what it would look like if they were in school, but also what they can do from a remote setting. So I had my daughters this summer work on these and they did an awesome job helping me. It took a little bribing, but it worked. But they did all the cards for me. And like Kim said earlier, Giphy is such an amazing tool, web tool for us as PE teachers, because we can create so many different activities in under 6 seconds to show and model for our students. So here is my daughter doing what's called a ping pong version of Giphy, where it shows forward and backwards in one motion. So you don't have to do that. You don't have to edit. It does it for you. It's an amazing tool. But our students are going to take a lot from this, and it'll really benefit them going forward. So with that said, we're going to do another brain break or brain boost that we really promote in our classrooms with our teachers to help students process what they learn so that they're doing shorter bursts of content, but also to get that blood flowing and that oxygen back into the brain. So we're going to try one with you. And we're going to do this for 1 minute. It's called foot trace shapes. So with this activity, you're going to pick one foot and you're going to balance, and you're going to trace shapes on the floor. You're just going to make them. In schools, we have the shapes already laid down for students, but you're going to create your own today. Squares, circles, rectangles, whatever you want to do. You can even do numbers, letters, it's up to you. But switch feet after 30 seconds. We'll give you that option. We will tell you when the 30 seconds is up, and then we'll do this for 1 minute. All right, so if you would, at your own comfort level, please stand up. And let's try foot trace shapes. You will notice a lot of our students have trouble balancing due to those underdeveloped bodies not ready for learning. They're not playing as much as we used to when we were kids, and you will see these deficiencies apparent. And this is one way to help build and get these motor skills up to an efficient level. So doing something very simple like this and working in our classroom with our teachers really gives them an idea of how to embed content with movement. So not only are they working on balance, but they're also working on recognizing shapes, but do it in a physical manner. If you haven't switched, go ahead and do that, please. I know we're beyond the 30 seconds. All right, good job. Go ahead and take a seat.
Okay, so we're at the point where I'm actually going to unshare this slide deck so I can share my screen again well, let me see if I can do that. First of all, I'm going to unshare, and then I'm going to share back because I want to take you to our Canvas courses. Let's see here. Maybe that was able to do that there. Sorry about that, guys. Oops. I just want to make sure I do this correctly. The toolbar of Zoom is getting in my way. There we go. Okay, so I think everybody can see this dashboard. Andrew and Keith or Ashley, can you guys confirm that you can see my Canvas dashboard?
We're good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm willing to bet that you may have been exposed a little bit about Canvas. Now, my dashboard is going to look different than yours because you can see I've got lots of different courses that I've created for professional development and for courses that are launched out automatically for this upcoming school year. So I'm going to first take you through the 6th grade health and PE. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there are 12 online courses for every kindergarten through 12th grade health or PE course, including the high school electives as well. Our PE courses are basically shells with a lot of teacher numerous or teacher resources for you to pick and choose and create your own weekly lessons and assignments. However, our health course is fully a day-by-day course that's completely turnkey. So let's go look into the 6th grade health and PE one. It does have universal Canvas buttons that is going to be even in ELA, math, science, social studies type of buttons. But what we did was added, because 6th grade, it is health and PE. Maybe some of you in middle school are going to start PE first, or you start health first. So if you start health first, let me go into a student view so you guys can see what it looks like as a student. A student, they're told you're doing health first. They enter health. it goes to the landing homepage of Health. Here's where you as a health teacher, you can edit and put in your teacher name and contact information. Already put in there for you is the course description and the health concepts that are aligned to our state objectives. We are responsible for teaching our North Carolina Healthful Living Standards. And this comes directly from our North Carolina Health Education Standards. A button for the kids to start the course, it automatically will take them to this introduction module. If I was teaching health the very first 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, hopefully you're allowed to do 6 weeks of health in CMS, especially in middle school, this is all laid out for you for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. This is all about getting to know you, introduction module. When they're done with the introduction module, it will go on to the very next module. But as a student, you don't see that because I only publish one module at a time because I don't want kids to be overwhelmed by seeing the entire course until they are ready when you are delivering that type of instruction. So let me leave the student view, but I just want you guys to see what it looked like as a student. I'm going to go back to home. And again, I'm not going to go, in detail about all these courses. I just want you to be exposed because there's going to be professional development later on of this week on how to use these Canvas courses and customize and add pages, assignments, etc. So if you're going to PE, they click on PE. From PE, thanks to Ashley Usick, check out these cones that she created. Week 1, a student would just click on week 1 and it goes to the week 1 module that it would be. I'm in a teacher view, so you guys see everything in health right now, but it goes right to the PE module. The thing that we did embed in our required PE classes, we embedded in middle school Fit for Life, all the 6th, 7th, 8th grade health and PE, high school health and PE, and elementary. So I know we have 2 folks on here that are teaching elementary. Here is a weekly log that is for middle school. We have a weekly log that looks the same for elementary, but it doesn't ask all the same questions. It's more age appropriate. So what students do is they fill out a weekly log. They are encouraged to be active 5 out of the 7 days of the week. Let me go back to this. And then when they fill that out and upload it, in middle school, the teacher would grade it. But in elementary, you guys have about 700-800 students. They're not going to be graded on it. They're just going to be submitting the assignment because you're not going to be able to grade all 700 weekly logs. And the reason why I'm sharing the weekly logs with you is because, let me go back to home and go into student view. I know this is a lot of information, but how cool is it that in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, high school, with the required PE classes, when they do their weekly logs, when they get a certain amount of points in the secondary level, they earn badges. So these digital badges are tied into them completing not only the health assignments, but also the weekly fit logs. How cool is that? So one of the big things with remote learning is, how do you get kids engaged? How do you motivate them? This badging system that we put in for you will encourage them. Get your badge for doing all the health units. Get your badge by doing those weekly fitness logs. So let me leave here. So we added a badging system. And I think that's unique to a lot of these courses. I don't think other subjects are doing badges like we are. And this is what the badges look like that I've already embedded. So that is 6th grade health and PE, just real quick introduction of it. If it's already loaded into your dashboard, feel free to look at all the content, etc. But I know that the district is providing PD later on this week. So that is 6th grade. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade health and PE looks very similar. It's just aligning to that grade level standards and objectives. Same with high school. Elementary, again, it's just a shell. Let me go to it. I think it's down below here. Sorry, I know I've got a lot of courses. Elementary, look at the homepage. It looks the same from the previous homepage of 6th grade. That's because CMS has universal buttons, universal home pages, so it makes it easier for kids to click on buttons for support, click on certain things to navigate, to make it easy for them to complete their assignments. Let me go to student view on this. In elementary, when they click on this enter button, again, thanks to Ashley, our Canvas Ninja developer, she created all these cool sport objects, week 1, week 2, week 3. So when you actually publish week 1, click week 1, and the student will see already embedded the weekly fitness log. Now you can add assignments and activities and YouTube videos, etc. But what we put in there already for you to use at a bare minimum is a weekly fitness log, because remember, those weekly fitness logs ties to a digital fit badge for the week. So this is already in there for you. Look how I made it more appropriate. For elementary kids, they just say, tell me what you did. How did you feel before physical activity? How did you feel after? Did you like it? Just simple responses. They submit it. Notice that we actually added resources for them to be able to access, need help to get ideas for indoor and outdoor fitness activities. So this is something that you might be introducing to your kids that first week as well. Let me leave the student, well, actually, let me go back home, because students, like my son, who just left 5th grade, he'd be like, Mom, I gotta get my badge for the week. So he would be motivated to get all 18 badges to submit his weekly fitness log. Elementary, you don't need to grade this. The badges are earned in elementary just by kids submitting it. In secondary, the weekly logs are worth 25 points. You grade those assignments just as you do with your health and PE assignments, because you have less students. Elementary PE, you serve all the kids in your entire school. Secondary, you don't serve all the kids. You have a roster of students just like ELA, math, and science teachers. So this is just a bonus that we created these customized badges for students to be motivated to complete their weekly fitness logs and stay active during this remote learning setting. So let me go back. If I take off the student view, what I want to share with you is what the 18-week modules look like. Notice that I already published that week 1, so in the student view they can see it. This is just you publishing and unpublishing modules. I'm just going to X out of that. Real simple to publish and unpublish. But what we ended up putting in to all our PE courses, notice I said do not publish to course, because this is teacher use. If you need help finding resources to actually create lessons and assignments and activities to pull from and add to your weekly lesson plans, here is a wealth of resources for you to use as well to create. So this PE continuous learning tools, that takes you to this entire template of resources for you to be able to pull and use just at your fingertips in one Canvas shell. So I'll go back. So we try to make it, user-friendly for teachers to create your own lessons, customize your PE Canvas shells. We already created the homepage for you. We already created the weekly fitness logs. In health, you have a full course, you have full lessons, assignments, etc. But in PE, that's where you customize those PE activities and lessons. So let me go back to our slide. As you can tell, these are images of every PE course and every health course. You can see the secondary electives. In middle school, you have an elective called Fit for Life. In high school, you have the required health and PE course for graduation, but we have tons of electives: unified lifetime sports, strength and conditioning, team sports, cardio core, group fitness. We have so many courses at the high school level that really enhance fitness for life. So that's kind of what the Canvas course looks like. I spoke a lot about the digital badging. If you want to know more about it and how to view and award a digital badge using Canvas Learning Management System, I created this quick little tutorial video. Not only did I do it for new teacher orientation, but I also did that video for our veteran teachers who are new to digital badging. Because remember, in this remote world, whether you've been teaching for 15, 20 years, it feels like a brand new teacher for many of us because we're going to a remote platform, something that we've never done before. So this slide is just there for you to go back to if you want to see more about the digital badging.
So this next slide here is going to give you links to the North Carolina Healthful Living Standards. In this, you will see the health standards, the PE standards, K through 12, specifically to each little lesson or unit that you want to teach. Now, as you're, if you're somebody who's new to education and you're doing this, you haven't gone through a College of Ed program, this might be the first time you see this. So it's good to get yourself familiar with the standards that we teach, so that if you ever get a principal that comes around to check lesson plans and they want to know exactly what standard you're teaching, you can put, Healthful Living Standard, 5th grade, 3.1, and most of your lessons are going to cover multiple standards. And in the K-5 world, health technically falls under the realm of the classroom teacher, but we still need to kind of weave in as much as we can when we can. I mean, in 6 through 12, you will have health classes where you're going to see the kids more consistently. But K-5, you may see your kids once a week, once every 6 or 7 days. So weave in what you can, but meet in these standards. And you may have classroom teachers that reach out to you and say, hey, where would this fall? This way here, we kind of cover our bases when it comes to the standards. There's links to all of these, and you can unpack the standards and go from there. This next slide, this is a cool thing to do. If you get a chance to check this out, these are the 20 indicators for effective physical education instruction. Take this, download it, have a copy for yourself. It's good to see what, if we walk into your classroom, if an administrator walks into your classroom, what does effective PE look like? Okay, a lot of times as PE teachers, when we're observed under the classroom teacher domain. And a lot of times you have a principal that just doesn't understand, why does our class look different than a classroom? Well, I mean, obviously it's PE. We don't have desks. We don't have chairs. We have kids moving around. We have kids that are a little loud because, we're allowed to have that freedoms. But this is also something good that you can hand to an administrator and say, hey, for when you observe my class, here's some things that I'm going to, to look for, so you can see that you can't put me in the same, put me in the same realm as a classroom teacher, because mine's going to be a little different. And this is what good PE looks like. And then this last link here, or little slide here, you have 3 different separate links. The Healthy Active Children's Policy, which is in North Carolina, tells you, how often we need to see kids. And it also gives guidelines for recess, especially, again, in the K-5 world, every kid is supposed to have 30 minutes of recess every day where they're meeting a moderate to vigorous physical activity level. And it also states in there that teachers cannot take away recess as a punishment. Oftentimes that's not, observed by admin, but it is in there. And it also lays the guidelines out as 225 minutes for the middle schools for having healthful active time. The Healthy Youth Act link will give you, take you to the state's plan for health classes, what kids need to meet, and it kind of gives you a chance to see, go back and look at our healthful living standards to make sure we're meeting that. And then there's CMS board policy. Now, when you go to that link, you'll actually have to look up under students the wellness policy, and gives you the idea of what is expected by our CMS board. So
I'm constantly asked at times from administrators, hey, what is the state policy? What is our local board policy when it comes to recess, when it comes to health education time, when it comes to PE time? So I always reference these three policies. I literally take the words from the Healthy Active Children's Policy and Healthy Youth Act and the Student Wellness Policy to help support our instructional time. Many states during remote learning, unfortunately, they decided to cut funding, and some of the funding in some states said, we're not doing PE and health in a remote world. I said, no, 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 CMS in North Carolina. How are we going to comply to the Healthy Active Children's Policy? How are we going to comply to the Healthy Youth Act? And how are we going to comply to the CMS Student Wellness Board Policy if you get rid of us? They're like, good point. So as a district coordinator, I am very, very informed of these policies to ensure that our jobs are protected and that we are giving the instructional time to be able to deliver effective quality health and PE classes. And this Healthy Active Children's Policy, that's not K-5, that's kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. And that is why in the instructional guidelines for elementary and middle school, it states, even in a remote world, kids need at least 30 minutes of healthy active children time. Healthy active children time is basically that recess time. Keith or Andrew, are you guys doing this one?
Yeah, Andrew's on this one.
So
Andrew, unmute.
actually, I'll do it. So the re-entry considerations, this is just another slide. Our supporting state organization is North Carolina SHAPE. SHAPE stands for Society of Health and Physical Education. Keith referenced SHAPE America, the 20 indicators of effective instruction for PE. That's our national organization. So national organization, SHAPE, Society of Health and PE. Then states have their own associations, North Carolina SHAPE, Kentucky SHAPE, Virginia SHAPE, etc. So our North Carolina organization, this is a fantastic document. Ashley, you don't even know about this yet. It's going to be released soon to on social media and to SHAPE members. But if you are looking to see, okay, how am I going to deliver PE in a hybrid back to school model, or how am I going to teach PE remotely? Clicking on these documents for re-entry considerations will be very helpful to you. So again, I put this slide in there just so you guys can come back and click on it. Just great resources again.
So what's next? And before we start with this one thing too to help you with going back to the Healthy Active Children's Policy, another button we had added to all the K2 iPads, but all 3.5 also has access to this as well, is Classroom Brain Boost button, which can also be used for physical activity time. And within the instructional guidelines, our teachers are required to do 30 minutes of B3 every single day, whether that's in 10-minute increments, 30 minutes at a time. It is up to the teacher to figure out in the schedule how that looks. So that's going to be embedded in addition to our special area classes. So that's going to be a good thing going forward for us as well. So what is next? Let's start to enroll into some of these courses. So Cmshpe PD for 2020 and 2021, the bit.ly link or the course link is here for you to enroll into those courses. Also start to explore our website. On all of our tabs, we have a lot of resources and a lot of things available to you to start diving in. So physical activity tab, we have a physical education and a health tab to break down some of those things we talked about today. And we know it's a lot of information, so it's going to take some time. Don't overwhelm yourself, just do a little bit at a time to get familiar. Review the curriculum materials and resources, and then follow us on all of our social media sites. That is the best way to see current and up-to-date things that are going on in the district and also around the country. We have a lot of people that we follow that are connected with us nationally to help us to stay on top of the latest trends, the latest things going on, so that we make sure that we have the available resources at hand for you.
So just to reiterate before we actually go to the chat boxes too, again, here are our email addresses. I'm going to add your emails to a list of teachers that when I send out blast emails, just giving updates and district updates with CMS, health and PE, I'll make sure I put that on there, or I'll put your names in there so you receive those information. But just as Andrew stated, this Canvas course, that link right there to our CMS HPE PD 2020-2021 Canvas course, this is really going to help guide you for Thursday and Friday. So we have all the Zoom session meeting links all embedded into this Canvas course. So if you're still a little confused, what am I doing on August 6th? What am I doing on August 7th? This Canvas course gives that layout to you. And I sent an email out yesterday to health and PE teachers, kind of have a quick links in an email that I will forward to you guys as well. I promised you that I would put in that first slide again that has this presentation link. So let me put that on view here. Please take out your phones, unless you have a pen, pencil, whatever, write this bit.ly link down right now. bit.ly CMS HPE 2020. This is the entire presentation link. Remember, you can make copies of that random wheel spinner. You guys can, copy and, paste the timers into other slides that you may want to use later on. And then please go back to this slide deck so that you can click on those hyperlinks and explore the numerous resources. So I'm going to stop here. I know that your mind is exploding. So I'm going to the chat box. If you have any questions, please put in the chat box, or because this is a small group, feel free to unmute yourself too on any thoughts, concerns, questions that you may have. We'll take the time for you guys.
Share your screen so we can kind of see.
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure everybody has that CMS HPE 2020 first. Then I'll stop share. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, if you want to say anything, some of you, I'm like, seeing this, like, whoa, a lot of stuff. My advice to you guys is one day at a time. Go on every slide. You don't have to do all of this. I just wanted you guys to have a wealth of resources on one slide deck that you guys can reference throughout the entire year. I have 26, 27 years into this profession. That slide deck is my 26 some years. And just what happened in 1 year going full remote. So it is okay to feel overwhelmed. It is okay to take risks. It's okay to say, well, that didn't work so well. I'm going to try this. All those are justified feelings. Know that we are your colleague. We're not your evaluator. A lot of people say, oh, that's my boss, Kim. I'm not your boss. I'm your friend and colleague. Your administrator is the one who's going to be doing your evaluations. Your administrator, if they send out emails and say, yes, like Alyssa, you have to be here, you got to be there. Your administrator does trump us. I just want to say that. So if your administrator principal says, well, you need to be here, you can't do this for health and PE, most likely you're going to have to do what that administrator says. So we are your support. We don't evaluate. We don't go in and observe. We're not judging your practice ever. We're just giving you curriculum resources to help you be effective. So anything that you guys need.
To piggyback off of what Kim is saying, just to kind of give you an idea of this too, is we are not able to give you funding for some of your resources when you get back in the gym. A lot of times people think, hey, I'll just call Kim, Keith, and Andrew and they'll buy me basketballs. Sorry, we unfortunately funding for our district for 180 schools. If we evenly give you something, and you really want to be equal all the way across, I could buy each one of you a Fox 40.
A whistle. Yep. That's all the funding we have. We have no funding, but principals think we do. Some years we're given extra funding, but we've been kind of dry the last 2 years. But don't worry, we're constantly advocating. Right. Ashley will tell you that some years we have funds, some years we don't. Funds don't. But what we can do is, I think we've done a really good job stretching the dollar of creating our own curriculum resources. We don't have textbooks. This all comes from our global health community. It comes from sharing from one another. It comes from collaborating with one another. It comes from being on the same team. because together we are better. That is our focus. We are better when we are together. And that's where I think you're going to find that our health and PE community in CMS, we're truly one team. We're definitely a united group. So you'll notice that spirit and feeling even on our Zoom support sessions coming up later on this week. If you join in on them, you'll get that feeling of, okay, I'm part of something big and I'm part of something great.
One of the other things we can do for you as well, other than coming out when we do go back to live, or even in a remote setting, if you need us to come out to your school, if you're teaching remotely from your school, we come out and help you. But we could also put you in touch with somebody that's your grade level to kind of be a mentor to you, that if you're in learning community, whatever learning community you're in, if you want somebody that's close by that you can bounce ideas off of, maybe they have some equipment that you can borrow and you want to work something out with them, we can certainly find somebody that'll help you and kind of be a mentor for you as we go along as well. We are really, honestly, whenever we're not in this remote setting, I mean, we definitely love to come out and see you and help you whenever you need it. So it's not something that's a burden to any of us, and please don't ever think that.